Hey, welcome to the channel. This is Areeb Irshad and we are starting a brand new series, Ask Areeb. In this series, I'm going to take your questions and I'm going to answer them one by one. And if you have any kind of questions, do let me know down in the comments. This is the first episode of the series and I'm going to take a question that I got from LinkedIn, and that is from Ayush. So I'm going to read this question and then I'm going to get back to it. Well, people basically say that you have to target your particular niche so as to develop your personal brand on LinkedIn. But I want to work on different things, means I want to explore 2 or 3 sector. So my question is that, is it important to focus on one thing on LinkedIn to build personal brand? If not, then what should be done to develop the personal brand on LinkedIn so that I can work on those 2 or 3 things? He said that at the end, hope you don't mind to answer this question on YouTube. Of course, I don't mind it. That is why I'm answering. So I love this question because personally I have dealt with it. I am interested in food technology as well, and I'm also interested in personal branding, LinkedIn, communication skills, networking, these kind of stuff. Content, of course, that is also something I'm interested in. For people who are interested in multiple things, it becomes super challenging to understand that, hey, what should I be making content about? Because in personal branding, if you have seen my previous videos where I talk about that, hey, first of all, you have to understand your passion or your love or your where you would genuinely want to work. And if you are interested in multiple things, it definitely becomes super difficult, right? So personally for me, what I did, first of all, I focused on food technology for the first 3 years, and that is what I would recommend in the beginning. If you are just starting out and if you have multiple interests, choose only one and then focus on it for an extended period of time. Because if you are just talking about, and you of course are dealing with this, so I can understand, I can completely relate with you that you are confused, right? Because if you genuinely want to stand out on LinkedIn, you have to choose one thing or maximum of 2 things. If you are branding yourself on LinkedIn or any social media platform, people have very short retention span. They can only remember you for 1 or 2 things, or maybe 3 things max to max. If I go and if I say that, hey, I'm interested in food technology, but I also talk about personal branding and LinkedIn, and I also talk about communication skills, and I also talk about networking and content creation and all that stuff. So the person is going to be confused that, hey, what does he even stand for? So first of all, you have to stand for something, and that is, you have to be focused on one thing only. And I do understand that this is going to be very tricky for you, but you have to make the decision for yourself that you have to choose one thing over the other. And it feels very bad that, hey, I have to let go of my interest. No, you are not letting go of your interest. For example, let's say I was interested, I'm still interested in food technology. So I'm not only talking about food technology, but I'm also incorporating career guidance in those videos because I'm interested in career guidance. So I'm combining those 2 interests and then putting out content in that way. So maybe you could think about combining your interest and then putting out content in that way. For example, I'm interested in Avengers. I like Marvel movies. I like Batman. I like Christopher Nolan's movies, right? So sometimes I give examples or sometimes I give references to those movies as well, and I incorporate those examples into the lectures of food technology or into LinkedIn or into career guidance. And that gives an interesting twist or interesting perspective, because people were not really thinking about, hey, someone could be talking about Captain America and connecting that with some life advice that usually people don't think about from my own perspective, right? So maybe you could also think about combining those 2 or 3 passions and then using that as an outlet. So that is another thing. But of course, what I would recommend is to focus on one thing and one thing only for an extended period of time. And once you feel that, hey, I have grown my substantial following or I am known for it, and then you can start diversifying. Ali Abdal is a great example for that. For the first 2 or 3 years, I believe, he was just posting content around medical because he is from medical domain. He was talking about some entrance exams from those specific domains, right? And then he slowly started to divert from, he started talking about note taking on iPad. He started talking about productivity because he realized that people in the medical domain would also be interested in note taking, the medical students, and they would also be interested in productivity, right? So then he started to talk about those things, and then he's talking about different things. He's talking about book reviews. He's talking about he's talking about technology, he's talking about productivity systems and that kind of stuff. So, but you have to be focused on one thing for at least a year, I would say. But it could be, as much as 3 years or as much as 5 years. So I hope that answers your question, and I will see you next time.